pace of AI advancement is unprecedented. We've moved beyond Moore's law with AI capabilities now doubling every 3.5 months. That's a 100x annual improvement. That's according to Peter Diamandis, who studies exponential trends. Now, how can everybody keep up with this? What is the pace of advancements in manufacturing or energy? We're about to find out. We have over 25 subject matter experts with perspectives from analyst community, from the end user, solution providers, managing consultants, and vendors. So we want to welcome the 2,000 people from about 110 countries that took seats already, and about another 715 that are about to take seats. Couple of reminders. These sessions are live, meaning there's no pre-recorded sessions. And then we make a commitment to you to answer all your questions. So I want to thank you for choosing to spend the time with us. Enjoy the conference, ask a lot of questions. I'll be your host, Lucian Fogoros, and I want to thank my team for supporting this. This is a new event that we've added. It's a 6th that we do as IoT World Days. I would like to kick off the event with the first session, introducing Alex West, the principal IoT analyst at Omdia, whom I've had the pleasure to meet over the last several years at various events, most recently in Paris at an Innovation Summit and Hanover Conference. Alex, the floor is yours.
Great. Thank you, Lucian. Appreciate you having us and great to be here today. And welcome to the audience. Really appreciate everyone joining us. And as we look at this panel, which is going to be discussing AI innovations driving the future of sustainability, I'm also excited to be joined by a couple of industry experts from Rockwell Automation and Honeywell as well. Now, before we get into the specifics, I'd like to just provide some of the housekeeping things to be aware of. Firstly, we want to make sure everyone's comfortable with the webinar tool. So firstly, you should see on your tool that there's a chat function on the right. So when you find that, why don't you jump on, let us know where you're located, what you're interested in hearing about. And again, appreciate you joining today. Next to the chat function, there's a Q&A tool. So this is where you can post all your questions during the session. Please do post them here and not in the actual chat, as that will help make it easier for us to monitor and answer the questions as well. As Lucian said, there's time set aside to answer your questions. Even if there are questions that we can't get to in the panel, we will get back to you after the panel. And again, we appreciate in advance your efforts in sharing your questions and really enriching the discussion that we're having. I also want to just make you aware of a couple of upcoming IIoT World events. So something to mark on your calendar. So October the 14th is the IIoT World ICS Cybersecurity Day. And the 4th and 5th of December is IIoT World Manufacturing and Supply Chain Day. So check those out as well. Just a reminder, this session is going to run for 59 minutes. We want to leave just enough time for you to jump onto the next panel, and that's enhancing manufacturing processes through AI and low-code integration. As we go through this panel this morning, this first panel, we've got a couple of poll questions as well that we're going to be asking the audience. We'd really appreciate your interaction, your engagement. Let us know your experiences and thoughts as we put these polls out, and those again will really help supplement the discussion that we're having. So on to the theme, and as Lucian mentioned, there's lots of change in the industrial sector in terms of challenges that it's facing. It's got its traditional challenges. You know, we're currently in some economically challenging conditions. There's the ongoing challenges around skill shortages as well. But alongside this, there's newer challenges that are emerging for organizations. Specifically, a couple of them are, one, how do we be more sustainable organizations, and how can we be digital organizations? Now, in both cases, these can be both challenging and yet imperative to remain really relevant in the marketplace of the future. So at Omdia, we've looked at sustainability for a number of years, and we see this as a topic that many companies are trying to make headway on. So the number of companies that are committed to reducing emissions, for example, through science-based targets is really growing exponentially. However, we found that 78% of targets set are for emissions reductions of less than 50%. So most companies don't really have a clear plan of how they're going to get to net zero. At the same time, we found even those companies that have set some targets, 46% of them are either slightly or significantly behind target. So as we look at these challenges the industry needs to really find some different approaches, different technologies, and the question is AI going to be one of those that's going to help in this critical transformation? So to answer that question, we're really fortunate. We've got a great couple of panelists to help us delve into this. And I'd like to ask them now to introduce themselves, if they could tell us a little bit about themselves and their company, and if we could start with Andrea and then on to Sarvesh.
Thank you, Alex, and good morning, afternoon, evening, everyone. I see there are people joining from all over the world. I'm Andrea Ruotolo, and I lead the Global Charge for Customer Sustainability at Rockwell Automation. We are at the forefront of empowering companies to harness the transformative potential of AI to achieve their sustainability goals. And I'm also proud to have founded the first leadership working group in the world dedicated to integrating responsible AI governance into the ESG framework. The ethical and responsible use of AI is truly paramount as we navigate the path towards a sustainable future. I'm very excited to be here with you all today.
Hello, hi everyone.
Yeah,
sure. Hi everyone. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Well, thanks for having me on this panel. I'm Sarvesh Saudekar. I'm the Director of Product Management AI at Honeywell Smart Energy. It's good to be on a panel in which we are discussing two key themes which are going to shape the future for us, that is AI and sustainability. So it's good to have both of those topics together in the same panel, same discussions. So really excited to be here. Some background, I've been working in this industry for more than 2 decades, developing, commercially launching many software solutions around utility industry value chain. I have launched multiple AI products around forecasting and energy grid management. So looking forward to the discussion here.
Great, thanks, Sarvesh. So we appreciate Andrea and Sarvesh, both of you joining today. And so for this discussion, we're going to break it into 3 sections. So first, we'll really set the scene around AI and its use in environmental sustainability applications. We're then going to jump into some of the challenges that companies and the market as a whole are facing and what needs to be considered. And then we're going to wrap up with a little bit of a look to the future and try and provide some tangible recommendations of how companies can either get things started or accelerated. Just to reiterate, we have got a couple of poll questions that are going to be coming out through the session. And also, please remember the Q&A. Please put your questions in. So really, let's start by getting some thoughts from our panelists around understanding, well, where is the industry today on this journey of applying AI to help environmental sustainability? So maybe, Andrea, if we could start with you, how would you define the role of AI in driving sustainability initiatives within industry today, and what progress have we really made in recent years?
Right. AI acts, well, we are building this. It's in motion, right? It's something that we are all building together. But AI, the vision is that acts as the brain behind sustainability efforts in industry, because it enables us to analyze massive data sets, identify inefficiencies, and make data-driven decisions that reduce environmental impact and improve overall operations. It's like having a 24/7 sustainability consultant optimizing every aspect of our operations. In the recent years, I would say over the past 4 years, we've seen AI move from a theoretical concept to a practical tool that people understand. I know that many of us, we have been working on this for a decade or 2, but people are now understanding it. So now we have many more individuals helping us build this system, which accelerates the pace of transformation. So we see that AI today is being used on from energy optimization to predictive maintenance, helping us reduce downtime and waste. I found a very interesting data point that I wanted to share with all of you, which is that the World Economic Forum estimates that AI has the potential to reduce global greenhouse gas emissions by about 5% by 2030. And this is theoretical, but I think it gives us and empowers us and gives us the excitement that this is possible, that AI can help us in significantly combat climate change. And I see a lot of people jumping on, helping and building this advanced brain system.
Sarvesh, what about your sort of perspectives around sort of where we are at the start of this journey and the role of AI and sustainability?
Sure. I think I definitely agree with what Andrea said here. So I'm going to echo some of the sentences and the thoughts that she has shared here. I think AI is playing an important role in driving initiatives across industries to enhance environmental sustainability. Across industry, most of the areas are getting impacted. So some areas like supply chain optimization, energy optimization, asset maintenance are at the forefront of leading this transformation. But the other areas are also slowly and steadily getting impacted, like think of new sustainable material development, waste reduction. So these, which are also really important areas, and they are also now joining and becoming part of this transformation. I feel that recent advancement in AI has given the necessary impetus to focus on sustainability and drive new initiatives. Now we see a lot of companies committing to make their facilities and operations carbon neutral by certain year. Or if some companies have already committed to that because of recent advancement in AI, they have reducing that time frame. So they are moving from 2035 to towards 2030. So there is already that change happening, and we can definitely see the AI becoming or providing that necessary impetus to drive this sustainable transformation.
Thanks, Sarvesh. So we're going to have a poll now, just as we set the scene. But I think based on some of the things that you guys have said, the driving factors of why people are going to introduce AI for sustainability is going to have a huge influence on where investment comes from, the projects that are allocated, how it's rolled out. So I'd like to pose a question now for the audience. So if the audience could go to the poll section on the right, our fast poll question is up. And it's, what do you think will be the primary driver for adopting AI-powered sustainability solutions in the future? So is this regulatory pressures and compliance? Is it economic savings and efficiency gains? Is it corporate social responsibility and brand value? Or is it customer demand for green products? So if you could let us know what you think, we'll leave that for a couple of seconds, that poll running. And just as we're waiting for the results, Sarvesh, I'll set you up for the next question. We'll see the results and maybe you can jump in and if there's anything you want to take from the poll. But can you share, Sarvesh, from your perspective, give us some maybe real world examples. Obviously, your experience is the utility and energy industry. So how you've seen any specific examples of AI contribute in achieving sustainability goals?
Sure, definitely. So as I mentioned in my earlier response, there are many areas where AI is being used to drive this successful outcome for the businesses as well as for the environment. So one area is definitely around optimization. So it can be energy optimization, it can be resource optimization, or supply chain optimization. Newer AI techniques and tools are being used to drive efficiency and optimization, which is a common theme across industries. For example, AI is being used to optimize the supply chain to reduce transportation distances, minimizing emissions, so that it improves the overall sustainability. Another key area is around prediction, and it's a big bucket. Again, there are many use cases which falls under the predictions. So some think of like prediction of weather events, prediction of energy consumption, prediction of equipment failures. So those all these use cases have been being transferred using the AI. So, for example, AI can predict failures, allowing for proactive maintenance, so that the downtime is reduced, thus minimizing the environmental impact. The recent advancement in Gen AI, where you can also generate some content, like think of creating some synthetic data, which you can use for testing and training, has definitely provided necessary impetus to drive this transformation forward. And coming back to the energy and utility industry examples, I've seen this impact happening in the utility industry. I can give some concrete example for that. So as you know, energy grid, which includes the generation, transmission, and distribution, is going through this transition right now. Traditional static grid, where energy gets generated at the top and flows at the home or through the distribution network, is being transitioned towards a more self-organizing or more of dynamic grid, where there are many DERs or distributed energy resources like solar panels, electric vehicles are being coming up and affecting the overall supply and demand in the energy grid. So using these DERs in the grid has tremendous impact on the reduction in carbon footprint. So think of offsetting the some coal power generators and maybe thousands of gasoline vehicles, which will transition towards EV vehicles. So newer AI techniques are being used to improve the prediction of energy generation of these solar panels. The generation of solar panel depends a lot on the correct prediction of weather. So new AI tools, as I mentioned earlier, are being used there to predict the weather events, to simulate different scenarios, and then do the correct prediction for the energy generation using solar panels. So I think in general, AI is being heavily used in the smart grid management to optimize energy distribution and integrate renewable resources more effectively in this evolving grid. So definitely, I see a lot of potential and a lot of steps being taken in that direction.
Yeah. Okay, great. Thank you, Sarvesh. I think it would be great if we could see the results from the poll now. We'll have a look at what some of these motivating factors are. So people are still answering, but it looks like there's a very clear focus on economic savings and efficiency gains. And I think maybe Andrea, just sort of going over to you, in the past when we've spoken, I think you often have made a link between sort of sustainability and productivity being things that are relational. You know, I remember a quote I've heard before. It says, it's been said, you can't be so woke you go broke. So, you know, there's a need for, especially in these challenging economic conditions, you've still got to make money. So maybe can you give us a little bit of an insight where enhancing AI, using AI to enhance sustainability has also a benefit of productivity in real world applications?
Absolutely. So one example that stands out is our work with a global automotive manufacturer, where we implemented AI-driven quality control systems. And by doing that, we were able to reduce scrap rates by 20%, which not only saved significant costs, but also prevented tons of material from ending up in landfills. So that's a very exciting example where we can demonstrate how AI can drive this win-win scenario, boosting both the bottom line and also environmental performance. I've seen that theoretically we can, by using AI-powered predictive maintenance, we can reduce as well machine downtime by up to 50%, which leads, of course, to increased productivity and resource efficiency. I would say we are at the stage right now where we are just getting to scrapping the surface on what's possible, because it's not, we are first of all being able to connect AI to real world operational data, and these AI systems are evolving. So the ability to create efficiencies today is not what we will be able to do in 2 to 5 years. This is going to change exponentially. So I'm bringing this up because the numbers and results are already quite impressive. And those companies that don't start the process today will not be able to exponentially improve processes going forward. That's why the aspect of, again, the numbers are already very attractive. They are going to get exponentially better over time. And those companies that linked sustainability with productivity at the same time and look at creating this data foundation are the ones that will have a very high chance at succeeding in the market in the next 3 to 5 years.
So you're seeing there's these clear benefits. Why doesn't everyone do it? And I think sometimes we see with these sort of projects and investments, and again, we're talking both sustainability and AI, we're talking new technologies, new applications. Sometimes we've seen that organizations find it difficult to get investment for some of these projects. And it would be great to understand from you both, and maybe starting with you, Sarvesh, what are some strategies that companies can use to justify the investment in AI-powered sustainability initiatives?
I think that's a really great question. As a lot of what we discussed on what is the ROI depends on both tangible and non-tangible outcome of AI, right? So there is a tangible aspect and as well as non-tangible aspect of using AI for driving sustainability initiatives. I feel there were some challenges earlier, like there was increased cost and complexity around justifying investment in sustainability initiatives. But now AI is helping us to breaking these challenges, and that's why I feel that AI is providing necessary impetus to move towards a greener future. As Andrea mentioned, the recent study by Google and BCG points that scaling proven, and this is just about the AI which exists right now. So that study says that using that proven AI and scaling that AI application would help to reduce global greenhouse gas emission between 5 to 10% by 2030. So on the cost front, AI is providing efficiency gains, like it can optimize the energy consumption and consumption of equipment, which can lead to significant cost saving. So in turn, that also reduces the carbon footprint. And if we look at some of the product innovation, using AI, we can definitely create more cheaper, eco-friendly products, which provides another vector to drive revenue growth for the organization. There are other non-tangible reasons like regulatory compliance, brand recognitions, etc., which are also providing that necessary drive to move to this direction. So I think these are, I feel like these are really good reasons to justify the investments and make sustainability profitable. But to make sure that this investment do provide the benefit, we need to employ some tactical measures. Like we need to embed sustainability specific KPIs into reporting and auditing, so that we can share the impact of these initiatives with broader audiences. And in the first place, that impact can be measured and monitored effectively. Practices like carbon accounting, ESG performance, etc., are being used, and those are getting some traction in the industry nowadays.
Thanks, Sarvesh. And maybe following on to you, Andrea, anything else around strategies you can add? But also, from some of our research in the past, we've seen that there's almost been an inverse correlation between the health and strength of the market and sustainability performance, such as something like emissions intensity. So when the market is good, emissions go down, and when things get challenging, some of these initiatives go on the back burner and emissions go up and people operate less sustainably. So anything you can share on strategies, but then also how do you balance some of these trade-offs between sustainability goals and productivity improvements when you're implementing AI?
Right. So on strategies, well, AI and sustainability are critical to long-term business success, and this has been recognized by the majority of CEOs of corporations. There are multiple studies out there. What are some of the strategies? I think the primary strategy is radical acceptance from the C-suite of the company that this is here and it's here to stay. And that time is of the essence if the company wants to have a future, to have a financial sustainable future. This is a no-brainer. You need data for reporting on ESG, on environmental, social, and governance commitments. You need that data, right? And so having that data and making sure that the data is auditable is absolutely critical on how your customers and your shareholders and regulators are going to see you. So you need real-time operational data for reporting. Once you have that data, you can use that data to identify insights on how to improve your operations. Then you can use that same data to do, as Sarvesh mentioned before, optimization of your processes. And so you can implement AI engines in the system to help you improve processes, which are going to make you more profitable. I view it as very simple. Corporations that are going to radically accept that AI is here and is here to stay, and it's a great force to drive sustainability, and companies that won't. And I believe that those that won't will not have a role to play in the economy of the future. So that, I would say, the number one strategy is to make sure that the C-suite has a plan, a clear roadmap and strategy. And one other thing I would like to add is I'm very committed to the responsible implementation of technology, to the ethical implementation of technology. If you want your strategy to be successful, you need to involve your workforce. You need to ensure that you're listening to their voices. So my suggestion on the strategy is first, radical acceptance. Second, put together a high-level plan, not many pages, high level, maybe up to 3 pages, and then share that with your workforce for input. Because one thing that you want to be successful is to have your workforce involved, engaged, and also aligned with the implementation of these technologies. There are fears, there are concerns about how this is going to impact people's jobs. That's why you want to hear your employees, you want to hear your people in how are they viewing this, and you want to address your fears. Otherwise, there's going to be resistance in your corporation, and therefore you will not be successful in the implementation of AI to drive sustainability and productivity.
Thank you. I mean, following on from that, we're talking about the potential improvements, but obviously for any investment, ultimately you're going to have to prove its success. So maybe starting with you, Andrea, and then Sarvesh, if you'd like to follow on, what metrics or KPIs should companies really be using to measure success of AI-driven sustainability initiatives?
Yes, Alex, would you like me to start?
Yeah, if you could start, and then Sarvesh,
Okay.
if you could follow on.
Yes, absolutely. It's crucial to establish clear and measurable KPIs from the outset. And this could include metrics like energy consumption, waste reduction rates, or carbon emissions. Now, these KPIs, these specific KPIs, are going to vary depending on the industry and the company. But the focus should be on tracking progress and demonstrating the tangible impact of AI on sustainability goals. To be successful, I want to emphasize the importance of setting ambitious, but at the same time, achievable sustainability targets and regularly tracking progress against these targets, because what you're doing is not only advancing on your sustainability KPIs, you are also creating an operational transformation. You are changing people's mindset on how to operate a company. You see how this is so powerful, because this is not just about sustainability. This is an internal operational transformation. And if you want to be successful and be able to scale this up across the company, you need to share with your colleagues and with the rest of the company, how are you creating this operational transformation, how you're succeeding. That's why you need specific KPIs to track it and to communicate it internally.
So is there anything you'd like to add there?
Just a couple of comments. I think I agree here with Andrea. I think these KPIs are getting evolved as the industry is getting matured in this field. But some KPIs around carbon accounting, ESG performance, those are, I think, pretty standardized right now. Think of carbon footprint, a specific gas, emission gas measurement. So, but there are some KPIs which would be specific for industry, which would be evolved. I agree that we need to definitely monitor and keep track of these KPIs, using these KPIs so that we can report and monitor the progress over a period of time. So,
well, moving at a slightly different direction, and we're going to have a poll question. If we could bring up the next poll question. We've seen that really the appetite for compute is growing exponentially with commercialization of things like large language models like ChatGPT and a host of others. The servers that support these are extremely power hungry. I think a single server can draw like 10 kilowatts of power. So at the same time as we're seeing, you quoted the World Economic Forum saying there's a 5 to 10% potential saving, there's huge amounts of energy consumption coming more broadly as people use some of these different AI applications, and it's transforming previous ways of working, it's problem solving. So when we look at these two issues, you know, the benefits of AI versus the huge additional energy consumption, I'd like to ask the audience, what impact will the use of AI have on the environment over the next 5 years? So do we think it will have a negative impact on the environment? It will be essentially neutral? It will be positive? Or is that just too hard to predict at the moment? So if we could give that the audience, and we'll give them a few seconds to answer this. As you're looking at that, Sarvesh, I'll set you up again for the next question, but maybe we'll wait for the results. But how can companies prepare for the rapid advancements in AI technology to ensure that the future is sustainable? And so once we've got the results, if we could bring those up, I think we'll give it a few more seconds. Because I think ultimately we talk about the benefits of AI. There is a cost. These data centers, the hyperscalers and others are investing huge amounts in new data centers to support all of these large language model solutions. Do we think there's going to be a balancing, or positive or negative? So if we could have the results to the poll. Okay, so generally we see it's a combination of people seeing it being a positive impact or it being hard to predict. Only a few people see it as negative or neutral. But so Sarvesh, maybe we could get your thoughts. As we see all this rapid advancement of AI, how do we make sure we're still staying sustainable?
Yeah, I was eagerly waiting for the poll result here because I think that gives a sense of how or where the industry is going, right? So it's good to see that we have a good, I think everyone, more than 50% are on the positive side. So as we discussed, definitely AI is going to play an important role in driving the sustainability initiatives. So companies need to be AI ready to tap into this new advancement which is happening on the AI. Because as you know, and as you mentioned, Alex, some of these technologies, LLMs, ChatGPT, those are those came to the market in last couple of years. So there is already a lot of new advancement which is happening in the AI field. So definitely the companies needs to adapt to and what I call it, they need to be AI ready to reap the benefit of this advancement. Rapid advancement of AI does create some challenges, like challenges for sustainability. As you discussed, these large language models, LLMs, those are heavily energy intensive. So to run AI at scale, we need to have really massive data centers. So that's where I think sustainability and AI can go hand in hand. So companies need to focus on sustainable AI practices. So they don't need to run the model every time. They can definitely just inference the model, use the inferencing of the model as much as possible. There are new chips which are being developed to tackle this type of use cases. Then definitely there is a use case around optimizing the AI models. Then there are use cases around monitoring the AI use, monitoring the energy use for AI, so that you know exactly how much energy is being consumed and how you can optimize. On the other side, the data centers, there is already a push to make it more greener. A lot of the data centers, they do have a lot of this DERs, like solar panels and other energy generating resources, which feed and supplement the energy need of the data centers. So I think we need to embrace this type of technologies to make sure that we are not impacting the sustainability negatively by using a lot of AI. And I think we have the tools and technologies in place to make sure that we do it in a correct and streamlined manner.
So, Andrea, maybe a similar question to you. I mean, I know you've been involved a lot in AI and ethics, as you mentioned earlier, but what are some of the challenges you've encountered in ensuring that AI systems remain ethical, accountable, whilst driving these initiatives?
Yes. By the way, I am quite surprised by the result of the poll. Maybe we can talk about that later. But one challenge is ensuring transparency and avoiding bias in AI algorithms. We need to be able to explain how AI makes decisions and ensure it's not perpetuating existing inequalities. That's absolutely critical. Otherwise, are we actually building a sustainable future? Another challenge is data privacy. We must handle sensitive environmental operational data responsibly and ensure it's used solely for sustainability purposes. And to this, I want to add a comment on why I built this first leadership working group and the need of integrating responsible AI governance within the ESG framework. And I'm going to give a very simple example. If you use AI to optimize energy processes and you do that well, then you're going to have a positive environmental impact and reduce emissions, right? So yes, let's go and implement AI for energy optimization. However, let's stop and look at the overarching comprehensive ESG framework, right? So positive environmental impact by applying AI for energy optimization. But if in the process we are firing all the people that were doing this optimization manually, now we are having a negative social impact. So in the end, have we built a more or a less sustainable future? And I just asked that simple question, and I realized that no one in the world had the answer and no one was working in this challenge. That's why I think it's absolutely critical that corporations, before they look into implementing an AI solution, they look at not only how it's driving productivity, but also how it's driving sustainability across the ESG framework, not one metric at a time. Otherwise, they might be creating a less sustainable future while they think they are doing the opposite. That's why we need leaders that have this understanding. And by the way, we created a framework for leaders to be able to assess this. And if anyone would like to have access, we can share the link or you can connect with me on LinkedIn. But again, there are aspects small aspects, or many aspects, I would say, about how do we design the AI, but also how we use the AI will have an impact on our sustainable future.
Thanks, Andrea. Now, I've just been looking through the questions section, so just a reminder, if you've got any questions, please put them in the Q&A, but we've got a lot of questions already coming in, so that's great. Please add them if you have any more. We've just got a final couple of questions. One, we really want to look at the future now. Obviously, companies really, sustainability isn't a new topic, but certainly it's been moved up the agenda now. So there's really these questions of where is this going? Again, AI isn't new, but some of the developments is really transformational in how it's affecting business now. So what are some of the emerging trends which are cutting across AI and sustainability? And maybe Sarvesh, starting with you, what's your perspective of what we're looking at 5-10 years down the line?
I think that's a really interesting question, because things are evolving so rapidly that it's hard to predict what's going to happen. Even I think next year, but in 5 to 10 years time frame. But I think for sure there are a couple of trends that we are seeing. One is use of AI for more of a circular economy, which is a more of a sustainability related concept, which is being discussed and being used. So AI is definitely helping that acceleration to transition to a more circular economy model, where the companies are using AI-based tools and techniques for doing the waste reductions. So think of improving the recycling processes by more accurately distinguishing recyclables from the waste. So using image recognition and those type of techniques. So advancements in those techniques are helping us to figure out or distinguish recyclables from the waste and improve the waste reductions. Then there is definitely some improvements that will happen around product lifecycle optimization. I think that's another area where these things will merge. Then another area which is at a cross section is around the climate risk management. So AI is enhancing the risk management and mitigation strategies. So there is predictive modeling, the weather prediction events that we talked about earlier in answering one of the questions. So I think that there also the AI is going to play a really critical role. Techniques like using synthetic data. So that's something which is coming up in the recent few years because of the advancement in Gen AI. So those techniques are going to play a really important role. So using that, you can definitely do lot of scenario analysis to figure out what would be the impact of these weather events on different aspects of your operations. And it's not just related to the energy, but it can be related to your specific buildings, your specific manufacturing operations. So all those are interrelated. So I think now, with the advancement in AI, the AI model can handle this type of complexity to do new scenario buildings, and that will help us to model different scenarios and plan our operations effectively.
And Andrea, any of your thoughts? I mean, the things that we're doing now, we probably couldn't even have imagined in some cases 10 years ago. So in the next 10 years, what are some of the things that you could see, those sort of black swans that are coming across the horizon?
Yes, and I agree with what Sarvesh shared. I see AI being used for supply chain optimization. That's an absolutely, after what happened with COVID, people understand the need to build resilience in our systems. And AI, as I mentioned before, can analyze vast amount of data to identify sustainable suppliers and materials or reduce risk. It can optimize transportation routes and inventory management, reducing fuel consumption and emissions. That's definitely an area where I see a lot of progress. I also see progress in explainable and ethical AI for sustainability. This is an area that people, I think, are starting to become aware that it's absolutely critical. And I see people being focused on increasing the emphasis on ensuring that AI models are used for sustainability applications, that those models are transparent, interpretable, and free from bias, promoting trust and responsible AI deployment. And then the final area is focus on how the world needs to decarbonize the economy. We are all very clear about that. It needs to happen very fast, and it's a massive challenge that we all need to tackle together. So AI is going to play a very critical role in powering energy optimization to predict energy demand, optimize distribution, and integrate renewable energy sources into the grid, making energy systems more efficient and sustainable. Those are the three areas I would add to what Sarvesh mentioned before.
Thanks, Andrea. And just to wrap up, and maybe just a couple of minutes from each, and then when we'll jump into questions. A ton of great questions. And again, to the audience, any other questions that you have, please put them in the Q&A section, and we'll look to get to them. And if we can't get to them now, we'll get to them after the event. So great opportunities, lots of things that can be done, and probably still a lot of companies that are still trying to figure out their AI and sustainability strategies. So maybe could you give us one or two quick pieces of advice you would offer for starting this journey? What are immediate steps that companies could take? How can they get really started on leveraging AI for sustainability? Again, maybe start off with Sarvesh, and then Andrea, over to you.
Yep. So I'm going to kind of repeat some of the stuff that I mentioned earlier. But I think AI is here, and it's going to play a really critical role to drive these initiatives. And there are definitely some steps which companies can take in short term, which are around more of a tactical measures in making sure that they embed this key metrics, key KPIs into their reporting and auditing, so that they can share the story with broader audiences. And as there is increasing awareness around sustainability, I do see companies taking a longer term view of the situation, and kind of operationalizing a lot of strategies for long term. Like think of using a lot of just to take one example on the utility industry, like buying power which is generated by renewables, right? So that definitely is going to change the market dynamics. So those type of things will shape, and as we start using these newer technologies, then definitely there are these new tools which are coming up. So companies are going to tap into those to kind of effectively monitor and measure their carbon footprint. So,
Andrea, any quick tips and advice for other companies looking to get started?
Yes. The first one, as I mentioned before, radical acceptance. AI is here and here to stay. You need to secure unwavering commitment from the C-suite. The integration of AI into sustainability strategies and into the operations of a company isn't just a technological upgrade, it's a strategic shift that needs leadership from the top. The C-suite must champion the cause, set ambitious goals, allocate resources, and foster a culture of innovation. Without this leadership, initiatives risk becoming fragmented and losing momentum. And I've seen this a lot, and it doesn't work. This can lead to the death by 1,000 pilots scenario. You don't want that to happen. So to avoid this, companies should establish a clear vision for AI-powered sustainability and operations, aligning it with their overall business objectives. And this vision should be communicated throughout the organization, ensuring everyone understands the importance of AI in achieving sustainability targets. Now, my last piece of advice here is what I mentioned before. If you want this to succeed, you want your workforce to be on board, to feel safe, to feel psychologically safe, to share what they are actually thinking, where can they contribute, but also if they have any fears about the implementation of this technology. If that doesn't come to the surface, then people are going to resist the implementation of this technology, and they may have very great reasons why. You want to know those reasons, and you want to be able to create that change that's going to create a more sustainable future for all.
Thank you. Well, that's all we have from our standard questions and our panel, but we've got a few minutes for questions. I saw a lot of questions around that balancing of AI versus the energy it will consume that hopefully we've addressed, but if it's still there's any issues of clarification, please put it in the Q&A. Maybe a question to start with for you, Andrea, is how to be sure to keep control of our data when using AI. And if we don't want to use AI anymore, how can we cut AI access to our data?
Yes, that's a great question. Getting access to data, well, it's how you design the system. It's as simple as that. How do you design the access to the data? And then how can that data be used? That's why you need transparency in the design of those AI algorithms, and you need to embed the governance key components of your strategy in the design of the technology. There's also the aspect of cybersecurity, right? So as you implement more AI, please make sure that you are talking to your cybersecurity experts in understanding what are the risks about now adding this add-on AI brain into having access to your data.
Another question we've got, and Sarvesh, I'll start with you here, is we've got a couple of questions around similar topics, so let me read a couple of them out. Firstly, have you ever encountered situations where you need to persuade a traditionally minded customer that AI could be a more effective solution to their problem in sustainability? So that's really from a sales perspective, but then also internally, what about the organizational readiness of companies to implement AI solutions? So a couple of kind of people-related questions there.
Yeah, so I can definitely take the first one and share my thoughts on the second one too. So on convincing the stakeholders, and it's not just, I would say, the customer, but even the internal stakeholders, how we can leverage AI for driving these sustainability initiatives. So I think the key thing here is using some kind of metrics or KPIs that we can then monitor and measure and monitor, so that we can share that with all the stakeholders, so they can see the progress. So that's one thing. But these KPIs not just need to be the sustainability specific, like doesn't need to be how much carbon footprint we are reducing, but even the traditional bottom line KPIs, like what's the ROI for that. So sharing those level of details also definitely helps in making sure that the stakeholders are on board in this initiative. Sometimes there is that tension that we are not seeing the short-term gains with this, but as we discussed earlier in the panel, that with the advancement in the AI, we are also seeing that shift, that even the short-term gains are possible. Like think of energy efficiency, optimization. So those are all gains and tangible gains that we can definitely share with the customers. Case studies, so having some good case studies where these were implemented for some customers and the benefits that they got. I think sharing those definitely helps in convincing a customer to join this journey with the company together.
One or two more questions. I think, again, another couple of questions on a similar topic around the C-suite. And I think, Andrea, this is something that you mentioned about getting the C-suite involved. So I'll read them out. It says, looks like sustainability is quite understood as a relevant topic, but where is the real challenge to the C-suite to bring it into a daily practice? So how does the C-suite bring it in? But then a step down from that, if a technology innovation team does not have the buy-in from the top management at the moment, how can that team best influence and advise the CXO team to invest? So how do you get the CXO motivated to invest, and then what is the challenge for the C-suite to bring it into daily practice?
Yes, well, I would first suggest you should all try for a period of about 2 years. And if you don't see movement, well, that's a very bad signal that that corporation is not going to be ready for the future. So you may want to reconsider whether you want to stay and be part of that company. It may not have a future. Now, in terms of how do you convince or how do you present the benefits, what I would do is look at the company goals, the overarching company goals, and assessing what are the implementations that can create a shift that can more quickly help the company advance in their overall goals. And as simple as that, I would just look at the company KPIs, look at what are the AI implementations that you could do in the next year to 2 years, and how that AI implementation is going to help advance those company goals, because that's what the C-suite needs to achieve, right? And so aligning this development at lower layers in the organization and showing them with numbers, with specific numbers. The numbers shouldn't be only how this AI implementation is going to move the needle. You also need to include what could be the estimated cost and return on investment of that particular project. And it has to be simple. I encourage everyone to make things simple, 1 to 2 pages maximum, and then finding 15 minutes to present it, or even create a video of yourself to present it so that they can watch it whenever they are available.
Thanks, Andrea. And I think we've also think, sustainability is being built into the compensation plans of a lot of the C-suite now. So, they're going to be motivated, hopefully. Yes. Like you said, if it's a forward-thinking company, it's going to hit them where it hurts if they don't.
Yes, great point, Alex.
Brilliant. Well, really appreciate everybody's questions. We're right about time now. So again, if you submit a question and we haven't got to it, we'll look to get those responses back to you after the panel. We want to thank everybody. A big thank you to the panelists. Thank you, Sarvesh and Andrea, for joining. A big thank you to the audience as well, and for IIoT for hosting this event. Thanks for joining us. Enjoy the rest of the event. And next up is enhancing manufacturing processes through AI and low-code integration.